AFC middleweight champion Sasha Palatnikov. What's going on, Sasha? How you doing, man? I know you in Vegas.
Yeah, doing good, man. It's been a while since we've seen each other. Feels like a long time ago since I won that belt too, um, back in 2019. But yeah, all good, man. New location, new gym, new training partners. Got quite a few things to share, but otherwise, all is good. I hope you're safe. Trying to keep safe out here too.
Let's get into the new environment that you're in right now. You're at Syndicate MMA. How did you end up with Syndicate?
Um, well, basically, back in 2016, 2015, 2016, I was with the Black Zillions. And at that time, I'd gotten in good relationship with Neil Melanson, Godfather of Filth. He was the grappling coach at the time. And it just, when I went back to Asia, he moved to He was in Colorado, then he moved to Vegas. And we'd been in touch, and my dream was always to eventually make my way out to Vegas, and a couple of my old training partners were coming in and doing their camp, so it almost seemed like the perfect situation because I knew who I was able to train with. I had good contacts just with Neil alone, so it was something that I was working towards. Obviously, being in Hong Kong with hybrid and fighting in Asia, I wanted to make sure that I was, prepared financially and everything was in place for me to make the move eventually. And I know after my last fight, the whole thing with Hong Kong with the political unrest, the event got canceled, and I took the fight on 5 days' notice. So that probably was, in hindsight, not the best situation, being injured and such, but the opportunity and just to go to a new country, I thought it was, something that I really wanted to take. So I did it. And, I thought to myself, I learned from that. And now being here in Vegas, I came in, I stayed with Neil for a month, and he introduced me to John Wood, who's, the head coach of Syndicate, great team of guys there. And, you got talent all over, different weight classes. And, it was a good environment. Everyone was very friendly. There was no egos. It was good. I enjoyed it. And unfortunately, when in December, like literally, I got in contact from UAE Warriors. They wanted me to fight on the 31st of January. And I was like, well, here's my opportunity. I have 31 days to prepare instead of 5. So I felt more confident with that. And then I was like, I'm going to give myself a week. Like I wanted to give myself a week of training and then give them an answer, which they were fine with. So after that week of training, everything was going pretty well. And then I just felt my knee go. I was moving around with Marcin Tybura, the big heavyweight. We weren't, hitting, and then I just felt my knee give out a little bit. And then it just kind of got fat and swollen, and I just didn't know what was up. So had to unfortunately go get that MRI, and then the doctor told me I had a torn meniscus. So I was like, all right, let's get this shit fixed. And I had 2 potential fights, with one being with AFC and another with UAE Warriors. And unfortunately, when you get injured, that obviously is not feasible, not something that I could do. So number one priority was getting the knee fixed, and then right now I'm literally a month out from surgery, and I'm back working, training with AJ Matthews and Taiwan Claxton, both big names in Bellator, with Neil as well, overseeing it. So we have quite a few guys, the Filthy Few. We're a new team that is eventually gonna, you'll probably start to hear more about us later on, but they have some things in the works, and we're trying to build a team that we all have the kind of same mentality, and we all get along. Everyone on the team has to get along with everyone. We just don't want any of that, ego or animosity, anything. Everyone just wants the same thing, just to get better and win fights, so.
Well, Filthy Few, is that something that's within Syndicate, or are you guys creating a whole nother team?
Well, Neil, if you don't know Neil Melanson is one of the best grappling, jiu-jitsu, MMA coaches that you could find, and his system is proven. It works. He's trained, champions that are currently UFC champions. So his style is, from a military background. So he not only, it's not the gentle art with him. He knows how to manipulate the body to hurt somebody and then put you in an advantage situation. Plus, he's a big fan of wrestling, catch wrestling. So every grappling art you can imagine, he has some knowledge on, and he's been able to create his own system. And if we're training with Neil and you're cool with Neil, you're considered a Filthy Few, one of the members. And it's not a huge club, it's not a huge group, but it's a select few guys that we're a filthy group because we do a bunch of filthy things in that garage, when we're getting ready. So Neil's brought that along with his style. He's the godfather of filth. So being able to just be associated to him and learn under him has been a huge plus since 2016 when I first met him. He's added a lot to my game, especially in MMA. And yeah, and we have a good relationship. So going forward, I want to continue learning and getting better as much as I can, and hopefully help my teammates, of course, get ready for fights. And we just want to be a really tight group of people that we just can rely on each other. We don't have to worry about anything outside of that. We're going to be self-feasible. We're going to pay for ourselves. We're all going to be ready to chip in and make sure that, we're prepared to get each other, ready. And with Syndicate, John and Neil have a very good relationship, and Neil was teaching some classes, pro classes at Syndicate. So obviously bringing myself and a couple of the other guys, we all integrate well with the Syndicate guys as well. So it's, Syndicate was there before we came. So we just kind of showed up, and we had our little group. And then now we kind of mingle and intertwine with them and train together and cross train. So it's really good. It's really good to have that. You can't really get that in many places in the world. So very fortunate for it.
Yeah, definitely a good mixture. You have that small core group, and then you could go to a big team and get your
Mm-hmm.
sparring in and other training together with them. Now, I want to rewind back to last year. You won the title, the AFC title, and then you took a short notice fight for UAE Warriors, the
Mm-hmm.
co-main event slot against a big prospect in that region. What was the mentality, man, like accepting that fight? Because it was such short notice. I noticed it wasn't in like less than a week or something. I forgot. Like,
5 days. Yeah, five
yeah.
days. I was eating pizza and I got the phone call
Mm.
in Ukraine. I was not even at home. You know what I mean? I was out training, getting ready for a fight, which was supposed to happen 6 weeks from that moment they called me. But because the event the day before got canceled with the political unrest, I was like, man, like because for that fight in Hong Kong, because I hadn't fought in Hong Kong since 2017. So like I sold a bunch of tickets like in advance. I had people flying in. Like it was pretty cool. And, I was super bummed when I heard that, when they were canceling the event. I was like, wow. And then I was like, you know what? I was really, dieting and everything for the camp. So then I was like, all right, let's go eat pizza, the next day. And we were eating, and then I got that phone call, and then I was like, well, let's talk. It was interesting. Like I got called by, he's a matchmaker, and he had previously contacted me very close to when I fought for my title in AFC, and he'd proposed the same opponent at that time. And I was like, oh, interesting. But I also had a title fight, so I was like, I'm going to take that every time. But I also had an idea of who my opponent was. I watched some film on him. So when the phone call came on 5 days' notice, I was like, I know exactly who he is. I know what to. I at least thought I knew what to expect that night. So I was actually really confident. I was doing a lot of boxing training. I was doing really good at that point. I wasn't so much in MMA. It was more like pure boxing, and then I was gonna kind of go down into the MMA route closer to my fight. But I just really wanted to improve my hands and just work with some Olympic level boxers. They're all, junior Olympians and Lomachenko's coach, Usyk's coach. So the experience to be around that was an incredible experience. Plus I was in my dad's hometown, which I'd never been to before. So all of these things were like something that I really was lucky to have. And then the opportunity came, and I was like, man, they were offering me really good money on short notice. I just lost money because of a fight falling out. So I was like, man, this is going to help. And I was kind of confident going into it because I thought, man, this guy's a striker. I watched every single one of his fights. He fights once a year. They like to, he's the hometown guy. They want to get him wins. So I was like, all right. And he's a striker, pure striker. So I went in there thinking like he's going to stand up and we're just going to go at it. And I thought I was feeling pretty confident with that. I wasn't too confident if it was a wrestler or a grappler, just because I was having some injuries, and I just didn't want to get into any situation where I could, lose a fight because of an injury. So keeping it standing was the game plan, and then also finding a corner. So I think you just spoke with Matthew, Baby Cat Attack. That's my homie. So he was in Singapore. I reached out to him. I was like, dude, can you get on a flight in like 2 days? He just flew in from Penang, had to hang out in Singapore for 6 hours before he boarded a flight to meet me. So it was all like crazy logistically, but hey, we got there. They took care of us. Everything was taken care of. I didn't have to worry about a thing. I felt good. It was a catch weight at 80.5 kilos. I've never had an issue with weight, so I thought that was fine. And yeah, I went into that fight, and like I said, I genuinely thought I was gonna pick him apart. And man, the way the fight went, I could tell he was very tense. He was very like tense and hard, and I could see maybe he was gonna gas or he was nervous. But when I started moving around with him, I could tell he was very uncomfortable. He didn't like the footwork. And then he shot a double leg out of nowhere, which hey, full credit to my opponent. He nailed it, and I didn't expect it. But I got back to my feet. He didn't do much damage. I thought it was pretty even fight on the feet, to be honest with you. And then we had like an exchange where I landed a big shot. He kind of got rocked from it. And he landed a big shot on me. I stumbled back. We went to the ground. I took his back. And when I was on his back, my hip, my knee, everything, I didn't have power there. I just couldn't control him. So he quickly wriggled out, ended up on my guard. And from what I remember hearing Matt, I think we had like 40 seconds. So I was like, okay, I'll finish the round in bottom position, just try to protect myself. He was landing a little bit of ground and pound, but nothing enough to put me to sleep. And there was 12 seconds left. I heard Matt go 10 seconds. So I'm like, I'm going to cover up, just protect myself, go out second round. And my opponent hit me with like maybe 3 shots in a row, like, forearm, but elbows, some good shots. And the referee stopped it. And I mean, personally, like, I understand the referee situation is trying to protect me. That's cool. But I'm fighting too. And like, if I'm literally going to die in there to fight or try my best I have to be put to sleep to lose. Like, that kind of pissed me off, because I was like, man, there's 12 seconds left. Like, I'm okay. Like, I'm not out of it, but I'm always going to be biased. So, but I immediately said after the fight to the matchmaker, look, if there's a way that we could get a rematch down the road and I can get a full camp, I would love that. I would love to try to, run that back. And UAE Warriors were super cool to me, and they treated me well, and they said, we'll bring you back. We like you. So that was always a good thing to hear. Sometimes you go into a fight, new opportunity, you lose, but you also get opportunities to flourish in other aspects of the promotion. So, it's a nice opportunity to have in the future. And I hope soon, when things get back to normal, then I'll hopefully be going back there. But yeah, it was a really it was a crazy little window of a week that just like whirlwinded. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm in Hong Kong for 2 days, and then I'm packing my stuff and moving to Vegas. So it was all like kind of, and it maybe it caught up with me with the injury, and now I've been kind of being able to just like take a seat back and recover and just kind of, get my stuff sorted. But yeah, it was a while, like looking back now that we're talking about, because I haven't really talked about it too much. It's yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind. That was the best way to put it. You're in Ukraine 1 minute, and the next you're in Abu Dhabi, and then 2 days later in Las Vegas. So it was, yeah, but that's the fight life, and that's why it's so exciting, and it's such a fun sport to be in.
Definitely. Now, with Ukraine, you mentioned that earlier about you went out there to box, work with some coaches, and you, of course, you went to your father's hometown. There's a lot of things going on right there. Was that all part of the plan from months back? Like, I'm gonna go to Ukraine and work on my boxing. Was it that just something that was spur of the moment?
Well, my dad like had dropped it off to me. Like, he's like randomly, maybe just after my title fight, he was like, hey, like, would you ever be interested in training with like Lomachenko and Usyk's Olympic boxing coach in Ukraine? I'm like, I mean, yeah, that sounds awesome. It just seems unrealistic the way he just brought it up randomly. He's like, yeah, I got contacts. They know him. Like, if we were to go out there, you could train with him, no problem. So I was like, yeah, like, absolutely. That'd be amazing. And then when they announced the Hong Kong card, that's when I was like, hey, like, can we do it, leading up to that fight? So we would do half of my camp there and then come back and finish the rest in Hong Kong. And he was like, yeah. So pretty much we planned it ahead. It was mainly there for me to train. Everything was organized there for me to train. But, it was also going out and, exploring the area and, going and running in the mountains and doing stuff like that. And it was all training related to me. Yeah, we were eating good and seeing different things. But I was mentally focused. I was ready for the fight. It was just like I said, when I went in there, I was like, look, I have to work on my boxing. And my opponent for that Hong Kong fight was a completely different opponent as well. So I was like, I was going in there just to really sharpen up my hands, just make sure my takedown defense is on point, and then I wanted to go out there and box him. And same mentality going out there to fight Munir. But like I said, when my groin and my knee just started not doing what I wanted it to do, and all of a sudden you have a one-faceted game, like I said, full credit to Munir. He took advantage. He said to me after the fight, "Oh, I knew you were a karate guy. I knew you came from a karate background." So he's like, "I wanted to test you in your grappling and take you down." And I was like, "Look, I've seen 9 of your fights. I didn't see you go for any takedown." So in my mind, I was like, "Look, I was a little bit, I took advantage of maybe myself thinking that was what was going to happen, but." That's the game. You take risks, and it wasn't my night. Unfortunately, it didn't go my way. Like you said, it was the co-main event. The crowd was all behind him. It was cool. It was actually the first time I felt like the heel going into a fight, being the underdog or whatnot. But like I said, it's just experience, chip on my shoulder. Every single fight I've had, except for the 2 in Korea, have been in a different country. It's cool just to have that experience, because when the bigger shows come and when the bigger opportunities come, it's just gonna be a walk in the park.
Do you see the chapter of your MMA career in Hong Kong as maybe over now? Like you're gonna stay in Vegas and kind of work from Vegas and fight out of Vegas because it seems like you have the coach that you want to have in your corner, and the training partners are all over the place over there. So
Mm-hmm.
it's probably the best environment, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is the fight capital of the world. If I want boxing, like professional boxing looks, I can get that. If I want high level wrestlers, I can get that. Jiu-jitsu, everything is here. Um, Hong Kong was great. I had a great team of people around me. It's like you're one man, but you have a lot of people looking out for you, which is great. You don't usually get that often. But when you're working and when you're also trying to put your training in, and then you're also trying to time in when this individual can come in, and if he can't, he's not your weight, so you're working with like a 145er. So these are legitimate factors that fighters go through on a daily basis. But if you really, and I'm in a situation right now where I'm feeling that now I really am at that stage where it's like, okay, I fought in Asia, I won a title there, I have some opportunities there, but now I need to get into this market. I need to also promote Hong Kong. I'm representing Hong Kong. I am a representative of Hong Kong, and I still plan on putting that flag in the UFC. That is still my goal. But being here, there's just going to be so many more opportunities. Being in Asia, being in Hong Kong, it's like there are opportunities, but it's not the same. There could be a fallout in a fight. A card falls out, a fighter falls out, and you get that phone call. And if I'm ready, I'm going to take that, even if it is on short notice, just because that if you go out there and put on a show, or you put on a good performance, regardless, win, loss, or draw, you're most likely going to get that second shot. And now that I'm here in Vegas, I just want to be ready. I want to be ready full year. I just want to be healthy and just be ready, in shape, just ready to go. Because at this stage, especially with this coronavirus, I mean, I was a little bit fortunate because I was injured, but I'm feeling for all the other fighters that are healthy right now, that are in camps or were in camps, because our careers are all on pause right now. So for me, like, this is now I want to get that ball rolling when things open up. And if the opportunities are closed only in the States, then that's where I'm going to have to fight. But I'd love to defend my belt. We've spoken to the AFC boss, and he wants me to defend it, but we don't know when. So we just got to keep our ears open. But at the moment, right now, I'm at the bottom of the mountain. I just came back, and it's a very my mind feels like I'm amazing. I feel like I'm so sharp, and then when I'm actually in there sparring, it's not. That's the reality. So just got to climb that mountain slowly without doing anything stupid injury wise, and in a couple weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I should start to be back to my old self. And working with AJ, who's an absolute striking killer. AJ Matthews.
Oh yeah,
with
of course.
Bellator. His striking is very high level, and just working with him alone and just getting sparring in with him is always going to bring my game up very quickly. And same with Taiwan. Taiwan's a superb wrestler, something that I'm not super experienced with. So just having that little insight and his speed and his technique, it's great. We trained today, us three. And we go in there and we put in some sparring rounds, we do some conditioning, and then we hang out. We none of us have a fight, but we're still trying to sweat, trying to put in that work. I'm trying to catch up to them because they've been working super hard. So yeah, that's
What are
Vegas.
the doctors telling you when you're able to maybe fully be ready to fight, not just train but fight?
Yeah, basically they told me like with the meniscus, fortunately, it's not like a ACL or anything like that. So they were saying anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks before you can start because I haven't started running yet, but I can move around. But I'm gonna wait to the 6 week point to start doing some light jogging, and then I'm hoping by 2 months, another month from now, I should be able to be on the road doing some decent running. And then, because I mean, that's the thing, like when I'm not running, my feet are like concrete blocks. So I'm going out there and moving my hands, but my feet aren't moving. So once I'm back, running on the roads and on treadmills, wherever, I feel like my conditioning, everything will catch up. So yeah, and that's another thing. I don't want to be like, yeah, I'm bored. I need to train like a maniac and then have no end goal for it. So I'm pushing on the gas a little bit, but also easing off because I'm just trying to gradually build. Because the last thing I need right now is another injury. I don't want to go to the hospital right now, that's for sure. So just gotta, yeah, just keep recovering. I've got like a program for my knee that I do every day, sometimes twice. It's an obsession now. So I just don't want to have the same feeling I had in my knee in December, January. So if I can work on it and make it like the strongest knee ever, then that's what we'll do.
All right, man. Well, it was good catching up, Sasha, man. Hopefully you do get back in there as quick as possible. And you're right. If you're in Vegas, so many opportunities out there, right? Even from Vegas to go overseas, the opportunities are there. So you just need to be healthy and be ready.
Hmm.
And I'm looking to see you back inside that in the cage again. Appreciate the time, man.
Hey, thanks. It was good speaking to you. I hope you're well, and we'll talk soon.